Hi, everyone, and welcome to the monthly podcast with Pet Club with fellow owners Kurt and Cristin Ludlow, who have been gracious enough to join us on this month of December. Can you believe it? We're already here into the holiday season. And what better time than to be able to utilize these products to help with that? So, we're going to get their insights on all things for pets and humans. So, it's a nice amalgamation of the two. But before we get started, if you are new to the podcast, please do like, subscribe, share. It helps the channel grow and others to gain in the knowledge you're currently being afforded. As you've seen before, if you haven't seen before, Kurt and Cristin are co-owners of Pet Club, a 12 plus year old company, a Christian-based company that has found nature's antidote to all the things that we deal with challenges with cancer, health issues, and a whole myriad of other things connected to that through the advent of God's initial natural assets in the ground, including mushrooms and all the beautiful varieties of mushrooms and how they're utilized. So we'll learn more about that with them both today. Kurt and Cristin, thank you for joining us. How are you both doing today?
Fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah.
The great Thanksgiving.
Yes, great Thanksgiving and an early Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you both.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Well, I wanted to start something on a different bend because I think it would give a fresh perspective for people to hear, your vantage point. We've kind of danced around this before, but I think now is a good opportunity to start with it. We're all Christians. We've all been invested in the reset, the global currency reset, whether it's precious metals or cryptos or different bonds or foreign currencies. I'm curious, and I think the audience might be curious to know, how long have you invested in it, and what was the impetus for you both to get started?
Well, in 2006 is when I first purchased my Dinar. I actually bought Dinar in 2006, and one of a close friend of mine that I knew had brought it to my attention, and I just I dreamt that night about it, that I needed to go buy it, and I felt as though that was my indication I needed to buy, and I did. And then Kristen and I started purchasing more in 2011 and 2012 and 13, and it has just been something we just periodically keep adding on. And we know that for sure it's going to be something that's going to be a great move for us, no question. It'll allow us to bless so many people and do so many great things for so many others, and it's real exciting. I believe that we're close, the obviously the closest we've ever been, and I think maybe there's some political things that have held it back from already going, but man, every I is dotted, every T is crossed. We're about to cross that line, so it's super exciting, super exciting.
I absolutely agree. Chris, anything you want to add?
I just wanted to add, it can sometimes the waiting can be frustrating or discouraging. And sometimes people even lose belief, which is sad, but I mean, it makes sense why that happens. But we just believe God's timing is perfect and he's never late, always on time. So we just trust that when the time is right, that the blessing will be poured out, and like Kurt said, we'll be able to bless so many people and so do so many of the things that God has put on our hearts to do with it.
Back to what Kristen said, John,
Please.
throughout that process of all these years that I've been invested in it, the two of us have been invested in it. You can't let your highs get too high and your lows get too low. Even though there's some great information out there, I don't get on a different level plateau or expectations. I just run at a very even keel, and as it comes through, it'll come through, and it's going to come in God's time. So.
That's well said. I mean, if you both don't know, when I cover this subject heavily, it's never about dates and rates. It's about God's timing, sequence of events. Watching what the late great Kim Clement prophetically said when things seem at their worst. You look at what's going on in the Middle East and Latin America with Maduro. You look at what Mark Savaya as the U.S. envoy to Iraq going over there. They even had one of the Secretary of State representatives is over there now in Baghdad dealing with them. So you can see the amalgamation or the finalization, as you said earlier, Kurt, the Rubicon of this thing coming. But I think it's really important that people stay faith-based and even keeled about this and not listen to too many competing voices, because you won't get clarity from people. You're only going to get that from the Lord. And I know you both concur with that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Was there, so for me in 2012, when I started, God made it clear to me to get in. He said it's not a question of if, but when. Was there a seminal moment for both of you where God gave you peace or confirmation that you were going in the right direction?
Well, for me, I definitely felt like the dream that I had, it was just, it's really hard to even remember the exact details of that dream, but I remember, that it was something I saw myself purchasing it. I didn't know how to purchase it. I just had that conversation. I felt as though, that was something I needed to just to get into. And from there, I've had the utmost confidence in it. I feel like sometimes that we get spoken to a lot of times through our dreams, and in previous dreams that were fulfilled. I just felt like that was that indication for me for sure. And Cristin, of course, can.
Yeah. Never doubted it, not even for a second. It's just exactly like you said. It's not if this is going to happen. It's always been a when.
Yeah.
Because one thing that the Bible shows us and that we've found to be true, and God has demonstrated this over and over and over again in our lives, is that when He plants a seed in your heart, when He plants a thought in your mind, that if God says that it must, then it must. It's inevitable. And so when you get those inspirations, which literally inspired just means God breathed. So when those inspirations come to you and God breathes something into you, you shouldn't question it. You should just know that when God calls, He equips and empowers, and He'll make a way, and it's for a purpose. It's for a reason. It's not just like Kurt said, some fantasy thing of, it's a part of a bigger picture of good, of the good that God has planned for humanity and for creation. And so the people that are being called to it, many have the right intentions and the right motives and very pure intentions with what God has asked them to do with it.
Yeah, 100%. That's well said, Kristen. And again, a lot of people are looking to human intel, and oh well, this person said this and this person said that, and da 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 da. I'm like, look,
Mhm.
people will always give you vacillation because you're people. I mean, we are humans. We are made holy to make mistakes, and not intentionally, but disappoint because we're human. Because people have such microwave expectations, much like with Pet Club, right? If people order this product, they expect it the second they get it to work, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. It's a process, but it's a case by case thing. But when you're in the world of fickle vacillation, if you have that mindset, you've missed it. It's got to be about God's timing. He's never late or early. People don't want to hear that, but in the end, it always works out. And it's
True.
important. You both know this has happened before. It happened in Germany after World War II. This happened in Kuwait in 1991, 92. I know somebody personally whose father invested in the Kuwait dinar, did exceedingly well. You're starting to see the oil fields get blown up in the Kurds region and other regions that they're talking about. This is happening. As you said, Kristen, God's will is inevitability. So you're seeing all the markers, but again, He's got a timing and a positioning that He has for this perfectly, and it is in our timing. But when things seem at their worst, when things seem like they can never happen, much like our president finds a way to win, God always finds a way to win and work around things. So
That's why there's that saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. That's just fact. And so that's when things seem or appear to be at their worst, that's when God's light really shines through, and that's when the breakthrough happens. And like you said, this is nothing new. I know a lot of people think like, oh, it's like buying a lottery ticket. No, this is not something like hitting the lottery. This is something that's happened for as long as we've had history. Things have revalued, things have changed, currencies have changed, the way that we trade, and the way it always changes and evolves. And we see it even throughout the Bible with the Jubilee. Every 50 years there's the Jubilee. So, this is not something new. It's not some pie in the sky thing. This is something that's happened multiple times before, and it's something that God promises us as well.
yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned that, Christian, I always say that verse a lot, Leviticus 25, 9-12, and a restoration of families to their land and clan too. So God is he's doing an earth reset, the whole thing.
Yes.
Right. And so what you're doing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It gives me chills.
Yeah. Well, it's just an interesting segue because what you're doing with Pet Club is kind of participatory in that same aspect, not just like you said, Kurt, to help so many people, not just the finances, but what your company and organization is wholly tasked to do. You're partnering with God, and you're helping, if He needed our help, in the reset restoration of the circular motion of things. So just thought it was interesting. Well, thank you for both sharing that your testimony. I appreciate that, and I'm sure our audience does as well. So to talk a little bit, if you would, both about anything you want to talk about with new products or anything like that, or any testimonies you have with some of the mush puppies or some of the pet food, anything that you've heard of late.
Yeah, well, really quickly, I do want to let people know with Christmas coming up and, all the presents and the stockings and all of that, we have a lot of fun because you always think of your family members and like nieces and nephews and grandkids and stuff, but we always forget that pets are part of the family too. So we do have some fun little things that you can actually give to your pets or other family members who have pets. Like we have our dog and cat special sauce pouches that are very inexpensive. You can just put it in the little pet stocking stuffer, or we have little mini packs of our mush puppies that have the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. We have little hemp ropes for dogs and cats for them to play with. It's undyed, untreated. It keeps their teeth clean when they swallow bits and pieces of it. It's actually good for their system. So there's really inexpensive little things that you can get your furry four-legged family members for Christmas and put in their stockings. But especially with the season that we're in, we see the viruses and all of that going on as we're around more family, we're around more people. People are out shopping more. The weather's changing dramatically from hot to cold, and the wind comes, and it just everything's constantly changing, and a lot of people are feeling it physically. And so getting that extra mushroom support into the system right now is very crucial, more than ever. Of course, we always say every pet, every person, every day should at least be taking the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, which is our core mushroom, because that's what feeds the immune system. And God intelligently designed our immune systems to be able to handle all of those little small things like the viruses and infections, all the way up to the more catastrophic things like what you were mentioning at the beginning. But we got to be getting that extra support into our system every single day. And then another complementary mushroom that I highly recommend that I take every single day, and it literally brightens my day. I think because it's also a very natural form of vitamin D, because it stores vitamin D, is the shiitake mushroom. And that's in our product called Enforce Shield. That's the orange bottle here. And what's amazing about the shiitake mushroom, and you can look up the studies yourself, you don't even have to take my word for it, but it has a lot of antioxidants in it. And again, it's a great source of natural vitamin D. Mushrooms are one of the only organisms that actually store and increase the amount of vitamin D that it absorbs from the sun. And all of our mushrooms have access to natural sunlight. They're not artificially lit. We don't use UV or lab lighting or anything like that, because we believe that the sun, God designed it perfectly, and the sun feeds it codes that it needs to be the ally that it is for us and for animals. And so the shiitake mushroom also helps promote antiviral response in the body. So it helps the cells, because mushrooms, as they evolved, very similar to humans, have developed their own immune system as well. And it's learned to fight the infections and protect itself against the viruses just like we have. So when you put that extra food into the body, it literally is an ally. It really helps to strengthen and support the body's natural functions. So those are some things that I recommend right now with the season that we're going into, gift-wise, but also just for your own health and well-being.
That's great. We'll circle back to that too, Cristin, at the end for the promotions when we share the link with everybody, so that if they are interested in taking advantage of what you're offering, we can talk about that. And then I'll just bring up, as you both know, I typically do this just as you can articulate it. I'm also ordering the Enforce that you talked about. That's going to be on the way, but I've been working with these two here. So if you could kindly kind of just expound on that for the audience, please.
Yeah, so the Clarity, which is a lion's mane mushroom, and the lion's mane, you can see there's all types of data surrounding the lion's mane. Why would you purchase a lion's mane from us versus somebody else? Well, first and foremost, the money's going to the right places, number one, and not supporting maybe the wrong things that we wouldn't want to see our money being supportive of. However, when we process our lion's mane, We have three certifications of analysis to make sure that it's pure. It's exactly what we say it is, and we're providing the amount that's going to be effective. And this is why you'll see that so many times people will try, say, our lion's mane as an example, that particular Clarity product, and they'll see such a difference in what they had been taking before. And so it's very important that it's handled that way. The plus, the Enforce Plus, a yellow bottle, that has a reishi mushroom in it. And that particular product has our Coriolis versicolor, which the Coriolis versicolor that we provide in our supplements, we've been providing that for now over 25 years. So we're not new to this game. This is not, hey, we jumped in, the mushroom game because everyone's jumped into it. We have been one of the leaders in what we're doing here, but we have a proprietary way that we extract it. So our extraction process, nobody has, no one's been able to duplicate or synthesize. And what that has done is it's really brought the PSKs and the PSPs out, which are very important, for helping that immune system and getting that immune system working optimally again. And this is why we know God's hand is on it. There's no question about it. And the great things and testimonials and stories that have come from this particular mushroom. So that is in that Enforce Plus along with the reishi. And the reishi mushroom is known as an alkalinic mushroom. It's also has cancer fighting properties to it. It's been a great product for helping support people that are dealing with blood pressure challenges and dealing with sugar issues and things like that as well. And it is a slight blood thinner, so it also helps with many things regarding keeping that blood in a thin, healthy part of what you want your body to be in. But also, you have to take a lot for it to get to be to the point where it's ever a concern when it comes to that. However, if someone's already on blood thinners, we always just recommend they take the traditional Enforce in our green bottle. But it's such an incredible product. We just get countless testimonials from people that have been utilizing it.
Yeah, the plus is really great. We have a gentleman who his PSA numbers were in the 90s, and he was dealing with just a lot of various things happening inside of his body as a result of that. And he started taking the Enforce Plus, and within just a couple of months, he kept going back for testing, going back for testing, and they were thinking that their machines were broken because then the numbers just kept going down and down and down so dramatically. And they're like, how is this? We need to retest. This must be wrong. This must be a faulty test. Come to find out, it's now zero point 0.7. Like it went all the way down. And we see this quite a bit. And again, these supplements, they're not cures for anything, it's just food. It's just whole foods that's growing out in nature that feed the body. And then your own body is what does everything and rebalances and repairs and rebuilds and regulates everything that's happening. So when we get those mushroom allies into the body, it does that. And with the clarity that you were holding up, that lion's mane, what it does, nerve and brain support wise, how it supports the nerve and the brains, or the nerves and the brain, strike that, is incredible. We have a gentleman who had Parkinson's that was just kept progressing and progressing and progressing. And he was not very open to going the mushroom support route. He really wanted to do what his doctors were recommending, which we don't, we always ask people, just pray, ask God what the best route is for you, and he'll show you the way. And so he chose to, take all the medicines, do all the treatments. And after 2 years of going down that path, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so finally his daughter, we kept telling her he should try this. He should try this. It won't interact with anything. So finally, she got him to try the Enforce, which is the green bottle for the immune support, and then also that Clarity for the nerve and the brain support. And his numbers, the next time he went in, instead of doubling like they were every single time, they only went up by 0.25 or by 25%. And so they saw that it was now slowing. The progression of it was now slowing. The next time he went in, there was no progression at all. The next time he went in, it had actually lowered. And we saw him at his grandson's football game. We were watching him play. And I'll never forget, he came, and this is the same man that couldn't use a fork, that couldn't button his pants, that just had very little control. And he shook our hands so firmly with just tears in his eyes, and he thanked us and just said, "Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for just continuing to stay on me. I'm so grateful." And he's doing very, very well today. And so those are just two small stories of how this mushroom support can really impact the body regardless of what you're experiencing, because the immune system knows, like, it knows the cause or the source of whatever's happening inside of the body. We don't have to guess. We don't have to try to figure out which supplement should I take for this or for that. And you know how we are as Americans, right? We have everything's compartmentalized. We have a supplement for everything. We have a medication for everything, for every symptom. But the immune system just goes directly to the source of whatever's creating the problem in the first place, and it addresses it there. So if we just feed it the food that it needs, it will do what God designed it to do. And so it's really powerful. Over 90% of the time, people are just reporting back these positive experiences and results that they're seeing.
That's great. Thank you both. I appreciate that. And that's a good summation of everything on on the mushroom part. I want to circle back a little bit to something you both said regarding the pet product with the hemp, I think, the chewable solution for dogs. So because Kurt, you made a really good point about not all products are the same. So if you order a lion's mane supplement, say, it's just an example on Amazon, that does not necessarily equate to the quality that you guys have, because you can quality control it. You know, it's not all products are the same, is my point. So with that in mind, can you both talk a little bit about, like, you see those Cinesticks that they advertise for the dogs for chewing? How does this product, and it's not a competition thing, it's just how does this product operate in a much superior fashion that's more health beneficial for the pets long term?
Yeah, when I see a lot of the toys that are out there on the market, it actually makes me cringe, because we don't realize that our pets, when they're playing with these toys, they're swallowing bits and pieces of it. So we're finding bleach stuffing, styrofoam, plastic, heavily there's so many chemicals on tennis balls to make them bouncy, you know, things that we don't even think about. Heavily dyed and processed cotton and nylon fibers that are shredding their digestive systems. And even the things you think are more natural, like bones and pig ears and rawhides, are very heavily processed using glues and bleaches, preservatives like formaldehyde. A lot of them are even painting it with harsh coloring like red dye to make it look more natural. They're taking antler and painting it with furniture stain to make it look like it's fresh antler. And so these are all things that our pets are licking and chewing on, and many instances swallowing. And if they do swallow a large piece of that, that's now stuck inside of their system for the rest of their lives, unless they're able to pass it themselves or we do an emergency surgery. So now this thing that was meant for fun is slowly poisoning them from the inside out, as all those chemicals and toxins are leaching into their bodies. So it's so important that we're giving them natural products. You know, we see it at the store, all these red and purple and, you know, green, like all these really bright colored toys. And dogs are colorblind. Like, they can see bits of blue, yellow, and brown. Everything else is just brown. So why are they using all these harsh dyes? It's not to stimulate our pets, it's to stimulate us. It's a color psychology to make us give us the impulse to buy them. So we make sure that all the toys that we have, we use untreated hemp rope, we use naturally shed antler that is completely untouched. It goes straight from the ground into our pet's mouth, which has so many minerals like collagen and vitamin C and lipids. And there's just so many minerals inside of the antler that's good for them. For the cats, we have a little hemp rope called the Nipster that we marinate in organic catnip. So that is very exciting for them as well. But the best part is it's all natural. So when they're swallowing bits and pieces of it, it's actually not harming them. It's actually helping their bodies. It's good for them. When they're chewing on these ropes, these natural ropes, it's helping to floss their teeth and keep their teeth clean. And so you can have a guilt-free gift for your pet. And what's so funny is that I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but like, we have a cat, and you can buy all the toys in the world for your cat and then have it sitting next to a cardboard box. And the cat will always go for the cardboard box. Like, the cheapest, most natural thing out of all of the things, that's what the cat will go for. So you buy all these expensive toys and stuff, then you give a dog a little bit of an antler split or a hemp rope, and that dog will carry it around with them. Our pup Bear carries it with him everywhere he goes. If he's in the house, his little hemp rope with it's a pull toy with the antler split on it is right next to him because he just loves it and takes it everywhere with him. And I think their bodies just know that it's natural and they crave it. So, as you know, people that have pets, we always encourage people to educate friends and family members and let them know that the toys that they're giving their pets might actually be toxic for them and urge them to go more natural routes.
Yeah, and thank you, Cristin. As we share this video, I'm sure as it goes wherever the path that it goes with people, that message will be conveyed out, which is good because it's just about getting exposure and awareness. To your point, actually, you brought up an interesting sub question as you guys are sharing. I wanted to ask you both. One of my team members happened to send me one of the comments on the last podcast we did last month, where you were talking about case studies and how you've seen significant. Remember that time, the story you both talked about, where you gave one of your friends when you were starting your company out the mush puppies and the pet food, and they said, "Hey, what did you give our dog? What did we give him anything else?" That type of thing. And so you've seen a lot of case studies of success with dogs. One of the questions that we got, I thought was interesting to ask you since you're here, is what about, since you mentioned your cat, have you done case studies on cats and how to help their lives be prolonged in a complementary fashion to dogs?
Absolutely. Our friend's cat, Penny Lane, had a tumor in her bladder. And again, they had tried everything, and she was 17 years old. And so they really said there was not much more they could do. And she started giving Penny Lane the cat special sauce that has a Coriolus versicolor mushroom in it. And I encouraged her to double the amount just at the beginning. We always recommend that, so that you can get that extra support into the body. And
Here's a quick
this is actually from her. Yeah.
You told me to get super sauce for my kitty. She is 17, and they said that she had a tumor in her bladder. And I just got back from the vet, and I'm like happy crying. They said that the tumor in her bladder is almost completely gone. And I've been giving her that super sauce all the time, like twice a day. I doubled the amount, like you said. And I am just so beyond happy. Thank you so much. I love you. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you for telling me to get this.
Yeah, so we've seen everything from the kidney stones to the UTIs to even just basic things like their fur's losing their coloring or it's becoming very brittle or coarse, which usually means they need more minerals. We've just hear wonderful reports. Our cat, before we got him on the better food and the special sauce, he was really skittish and feisty. And this is my first cat. So I thought, oh, this is just how cats are. I didn't think anything of it. And then when we switched his food to the Sequoia kibble and canned food, and we started mixing in that special sauce with this food every day, he's a completely different cat. He's loving, he's sweet, he follows us around. He's like constantly wanting to be sitting in our lap, and he's not skittish or feisty at all. And so in hindsight, we're like, oh my goodness, he must have just not felt well. And when you don't feel well, you get irritable. I do. When I don't feel well, I get very irritable. So he must have just not felt well. Maybe he had stomach ache. Who knows? Headaches, we will never know. But now that he's feeling well, he's a completely different cat. So yeah, get that cat special sauce. Your cat will really enjoy it. Just mix it in with their food every day. I always recommend the wet food. It mixes in better with that, but you can even mix it in with the kibble if you want.
That's great. Thank you, Kurt, for sharing the testimonials. Go ahead.
Yeah, and John, something that's important for people to know that special sauce has chondroitin, carotene, glucosamine in. Very important for dogs, for sure. Not as important for cats, but it's still very helpful for them. But it's no bad ingredients in that product. Human-made whole foods, human-made commercial kitchens, and these are not synthetic. These are natural, which most companies are going to put synthetic in. It's very important to understand that. And of course, the Coriolus versicolor mushroom. It's just a tremendous product.
No, that's actually really good to know. What was just out of curiosity, what was the age of the cat that your testimony?
17.
17.
Yeah, but she's still with us. She's doing very, very well. She's 19 and a half now.
Praise God. That's awesome. That's a great testimonial. So thank you for both sharing. Actually, a good segue, because it's funny how God puts people in your path for a perfect time. You both are a perfect example in my life, not just for this podcast, but when I do eventually, when this all concludes and move to Tennessee, I want to get a golden retriever. So now I have a resource with you both on an ongoing relationship basis to help my dog get maybe some of the things they might not have gotten had our relationship, our path not have crossed. So again, everything for a season and a reason, right? But I've been hearing a lot, and I correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of times pet owners will help their pets, but not necessarily help themselves. So I want to encourage folks, if that's the case, to take some of the products that you folks make for humans. And a good example of that, of course, would be the coffee blend. And I'm going through one of the other blends right now. So this is one I'm coming up in the rear shortly after. And then, of course, the winter blend. I've really been looking forward to this Snowy River blend with the cinnamon and blueberry. Talk a little bit about the coffee, and also any other products for humans that they can use to complement what they're giving their pets, if you would.
Coffee is really important because it is a superfood, and almost all Americans drink coffee. But the challenge with coffee, and the reason why we decided to provide our own, because there's so many coffees out there that you can just get, but especially in America, so much of the coffee is contaminated. They're finding mycotoxins, molds. As a matter of fact, coffee that gets rejected by other countries gets sent to the United States because they know that we'll accept it. And so it's just full of toxins and insecticides and pesticides. And I heard a statistic that said that the coffee has the most chemicals out of everything that you would drink. So like out of everything you can possibly drink in the United States, coffee has the most chemicals in it if you're not getting a clean brand or a pure brand. And then on top of that, we add the Coriolis versicolor mushroom to it as well. So we found a great source of mycotoxin free. It's called SQF level 2 certified. So that means it's certified free of any contaminants at all, the insecticides, pesticides, anything, mycotoxins, molds, anything that shouldn't be there. So it's the purest coffee you can get. We grind it and roast it within about a week of you ordering it. So it's very fresh. A lot of the coffee that we buy from the stores has been sitting there for months or in warehouses for months. And so it's just older. It's more stale. That's why our coffee has so much flavor, is because it's so fresh. And then like Kurt said, we have very pure and potent strain of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. We've perfected the extraction process. It's a pharmaceutical grade extract, and we add that into the coffee as well. So now you're getting 2 superfoods with every cup that you drink instead of just the one, and it's doing so much good for your body.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Do you have a preference, both of you, in terms of the blend?
I haven't had caffeine in years, so I get the decaf version. And again, we use a Swiss water process to decaffeinate it, so there's no bleaches or chemicals or anything. It's all naturally done in the decaffeination process. And he likes the dark roast. The stronger, the better. So he always gets that dark roast coffee, the Rogue Woods.
Nice. Any additional flavors or things that you're tinkering with for the future?
We are looking into that, which we're really excited about. So we'll let you know as soon as it's ready to be announced.
Fair enough. I had to ask just to try to see if I cheat a little bit, but no, I totally understand.
But we do have a new cookie though. We've always had our chocolate chip cookies, and we've now added an oatmeal raisin cookie for humans. So
Nice.
we have little snack packs of the chocolate chip cookies and little snack packs of the oatmeal raisin cookies as well that have the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, and those are really, really good.
I'm looking
Also
forward to
very good for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a guilty pleasure that has no guilt attached to it.
Right.
Are you doing any peanut butter in the future? Because I would be interested in that.
Again, yeah, we're working
okay.
on more.
Well, yeah.
That's one I'm really looking forward to as well. That's why I'm so
Sorry,
excited.
I didn't know that part. I didn't let the cat out of the bag, but that's exciting. So, is that looking promising for 26, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to respect your time as both of you, as always, of course, as busy people and owners. So I'll give you the floor as always, last words for the audience, and talk a little bit about, if you would now, the holiday promotions that you have for Pet Club, please.
Yeah. So like I said, we do have all those little goodies you can get your pets for the stocking stuffers, the little mini packs of the mush puppies and the hemp ropes and the dog and cat special sauce. Just make great little stocking stuffers. For kids, we have the chocolate chip cookies and the oatmeal raisin cookies. We also have the gummies that the kids love. We have a lot of grandparents that are writing in and saying it's so easy. They love to eat them and they're doing so much better and the kids are feeling better and the runny noses and the crusty noses are gone, which is always great when you're a parent to see the crusty runny noses gone. So those are some delicious things. We do have some in the featured packs section on the website. You will see those where our discounted packs are that you can get, and you could either, break them apart and split it up, or you can give a family one of the whole packs, and they range in price from like the very low level all the way up to a higher level. Of course, the more in bulk you buy, the greater the discount is, or the deeper the discount is. So if you go to the featured pack section, you'll see those there. And then for people, like I said, the stocking stuffers, the little cookies always go great in the stockings. Our kids love those and they're delicious and will make them feel good.
They're pretty hard not to continue to just eat them
Eat
all.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the first pack I got with you guys when I started, I was like, oh, this isn't gonna last very long. You eat them by the sleeve, it's otherwise if you're doing it the other way. So absolutely. So what we'll do, folks, is we'll leave that link below in the description, and below in this video has my personal link that you can use, and you can get access to the website. Very good customer service too. I remember one time I ordered the wrong coffee by accident, and you guys honored it really quickly. You took care of it and right-sized it, and it was easy to work with. So that's peace of mind for people who are looking to potentially build a relationship with Pet Club or continue it. So, well, Kurt and Cristin Ludlow, CEOs of Pet Club 24/7, thank you for being here. We really appreciate your time, advice, and expertise. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you. Strange that it is to say that we're there already, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the new year with all the exciting, promising things to come.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ron. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
God bless everyone.
God bless.